Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Solomon Petray. Today, my presentation will be about the Fair Information Practice Principle, FIPPs. The objectives of this presentation are list information about what you, the audience, will learn from this presentation. They include a description of my understanding of FIPPs, including transparency, individual participation, purpose specification, data minimization, use limitation, data quality and integrity, security, accountability, and auditing. Also, an explanation of how FIPP compare to other privacy policy laws and regulations. Lastly, a description of how FIPPs can be useful in protecting PII, that's personally identifiable information, and how a federal agency can put each of these principles to use. What is the Fair Information Practice Principle of FIPPs? My understanding is that FIPPs provide a framework for privacy policy and ensures that personal information collected and used by specific limited purposes is accurate and secure. FIPPs ensure that individuals have a say in how their personal information is used. They also ensure that personal information is collected and used in a responsible and transparent manner. FIPPs ensures that those responsible for collecting and using personal information are accountable for their actions. FIPPs should be subjected to regular audits to ensure that they are being implemented properly. A comparison of FIPPs to other privacy policy laws and regulations. FIPPs are broader in definition and scope. Other policies tend to be more specific in terms of application in one direction or the other. For example, one policy within an organization is to keep employee salaries confidential. Another policy used by a hospital might be to keep patient illnesses confidential. FIPPs differs from other policies in that they are not legally binding and not necessarily enforceable. Some countries enact legislation for the corporation that operate within the boundaries with stiff fines for non-compliance of these rules and laws. Other countries may have such law in place, and corporations are allowed to put into effect whatever data privacy practice they want to adopt. FIPP usefulness in protecting PII and the federal agency use of these principles. The first principle is the transparency principle. The agency should provide clear and accessible notice regarding creation, collection, use, processing, storage, maintenance, dissemination, and disclosure of PII. Here, the federal agency will meet this requirement by providing a public website or phone number that allow people to find out what type of PII is collected, how it is used, how they can access it for data correction, and leave complaints. Another principle is the purpose specification. This requires that before PII is collected, an agency must specify why it is being collected, how it will be used, processed, stored, maintained, disseminated, or disclosed. If the agency wants to change the purpose for collecting PII once received, there must be sufficient justification for doing so. Another principle involves the use limitation. Personal identifiable information, PII, should not be disclosed, made available, or otherwise used for purposes other than those specified except with consent of the individual or by authority of law. Another principle involves security. Here, data should be protected from loss, unauthorized access, destruction, misuse, modification, and other form of malicious activity that could compromise its integrity. The individual participation and access principle agency here should involve the individual in the process of using PII. Individuals should be able to access their own data to correct and amend errors in PII as necessary. Yet the agency should establish procedures to receive and address individual privacy-related complaints and inquiries. The data quality and integrity principle. Within this principle, agencies should create, collect, use, process, store, maintain, disseminate, or disclose PII with such accuracy, relevance, timeliness, completeness, and up-to-date as necessary to ensure fairness to the individual. Another principle is accountability and auditing. The agency policy should clearly state what activities are allowed with regards to personal information, who is responsible for enforcing those activities, and how violations will be remedied. Agencies should also provide appropriate training to all employees and contractors who have access to PII. Agency personnel and contractors are accountable for auditing the actual use, of storage PII. Lastly, the principle of data minimization. Agencies should only maintain PII for as long as is necessary to accomplish the legal authorized purpose for which it was created. In conclusion, it has been a struggle to protect values we hold dear that we sometimes feel are under threat. Information technology improve our daily lives, yet they upend many institutional habits and expectations. Hence, there's a need for FIPPs. FIPPs are the framework for privacy policies. Respecting privacy means building a culture that value customers and stakeholders. FIPPs rules have been laid out by policymakers and governments to protect human value or mitigate effects on them while allowing technology to flourish. These are my references and questions. Thank you for your time.